What's up guys, welcome to another video. It's a few weeks after Road Atlanta and I'm back in the shop for a few upgrades. Not upgrades just yet, it's actually preparing for upgrades. Now let me kind of explain. I've ran EK side skirts on this car since I built it because I like the touring car look with a really low front lip and then stock side skirts. And the EK side skirts, they're a little bit more aggressive than the EG. The EG, they're kind of round, they don't look that cool, but the EK side skirt, I think looks sick. So I've kind of rocked this for a while. What I want to run is the PCI new vented side skirts that he just released. So they're really cool looking. I'll put a picture up here. But yeah, they have some slots in the front to vent the air out from the front, and then they have like a little deflector panel in the rear to kind of push the air away from the rear tire. The reason I want to run them is because I do think there is a little bit of a benefit to be had there in terms of aero, drag, downforce. I think it's an improvement. Now, here's the issue with those side skirts, and I dealt with this on the hatch for years, and it was so obnoxious. It's impossible to jack the car up because you can't get a jack underneath it. There's no area that you can jack the car up with the side skirt on, and it just makes it really annoying because you have to basically drive the car on a ramp each time you want to lift the car up. Then you can get the jack underneath it, lift it up, put it on jack stands, whatever. Really, really annoying. However, when I got this car caged, I asked the cage builder to incorporate pin jacks into the chassis. And pin jack is basically, if you ever seen rally cars, they usually have them on the front and the rear, and you could basically, it's like a cylinder. You put the cylinder in, and that's basically how the car sits on a jack stand. B&W E36s have kind of a similar setup too, and that's OEM. So it's just an easy way to lift the car up. So I basically asked my cage builder to kind of do that on my car, but I specifically told him I want it about here because this is kind of center point of the weight balance. So I thought, put my pin jack in, lift it with the pin jack, and then use the jack stands like I do here. And as you can see, this is the pin jack that I'm talking about. So I don't know where it's at right now, but I used to actually have like a busted axle. So I'd put the axle in this hole, and then I would lift the car up. And it makes it super easy because if you have really low side skirts, you cut a hole in the side skirt, so you could just insert your cylinder to that, and that's how you lift the car up, and then you can still use the OEM jack points. The problem though is this pin jack is in the middle of the door, and I think my cage guy overestimated how strong the rockers are on an OEM Honda. They're not strong at all. So whenever I tried to lift the car up using those pin jacks, the whole side sill would just deflect. And I was like, man, these rockers are gonna get trashed if I keep using this, and I never use the pin jacks. And you can kind of see, here's a good example of how messed up the rocker gets. Let me take this plastic off. But basically, yeah, it would just kind of buckle this whole section. So it didn't really work out. But basically, because I want to run these PCI side skirts here pretty soon, I need an easy way to lift the car up, and I don't want to be driving on ramps or anything. So I want to use these pin jacks, but what they need is reinforcement. So what I have to do is there's a cylinder that goes through this rocker. You can't see it obviously, and the hole's right here. I'll take this side skirt off pretty soon. But I need to basically attach a bar that goes from this bar down to the bar that's in this rocker. And then that should reinforce this pin jack mount significantly, so then I can use it, lift the car up, and then I can have sweet low side skirts. So what I'm gonna do is just cut this material away, drill out all these spot welds, peel this back, and then I'll have access to the tube that's in there. So, but yeah, let's get to work. Made my cuts. This gap's here a little bit too big, unfortunately. That's okay. Now I just gotta split it from the spot welds. Let's see. Good thing I'm an expert at drilling out spot welds. I unfortunately have a lot of experience. All the quarter panels last year. All right, so the idea is I'm just going to, hold on, just kidding. So I'm just gonna peel this back and you will see what I am talking about. There's the inside of the rocker. There's my pin jack cylinder. So now the idea is I'm going to weld a bar from here to this bar here, and that'll give me that vertical stiffness that I need to jack up. Ooh, found some goodies in here. Check this out. Oh, so I got some leftover tube from my cage guy. This looks like different material, but this is what my cage is made out of, and it's Dokal, I think. So it's kind of a complex tube because I have to basically notch it at an angle, and then I have to notch it here, but I can't notch too much because then it's going to be loose in this section. So what I'm gonna do is draw some lines and then just start cutting away, and then just keep kind of fine tuning it until I get the shape that I want, and then eventually we'll just weld it in. So let's see what we got. It's gonna be about there, let's say. Okay, I messed up. Fits pretty good on the upper bar. Needs a little bit more work, but I cut too much. See if I got any more material elsewhere. I found a longer tube and it's already notched. I'm pretty sure Adam, the cage guy, notched this tube and then didn't end up using it. And it's pretty close already. So I spent all that time trying to notch this guy. But this guy is good. So let me cut this guy down a little bit and then we'll work with the longer guy. Looking pretty good. So that's the top cut. And then I'm currently working on the bottom cut here. The way this kind of goes on, and there you go. As you can see, it's pretty tight to the bar. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep grinding away at the bottom so I can move this guy in as much as possible, because you can see I still have a little bit of gap on the back side there. So I got a little bit more space, move this guy in, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure this door clears this bar. So the more I can push this guy up against that direction, the more clearance I'll have here. So let's keep grinding away at the bottom and then we can start welding. All right, all welded on. Didn't even have to remove the ABS modulator, so that's sweet, but looks pretty good. Happy with it. I actually think I did the first side better, but this isn't too bad. The welds are mediocre at best. It's kind of hard to weld that in there. I should have cut this open wider. Don't even look at that side, but it's strong enough, it'll hold. And yeah, so now all I gotta do is I gotta cut a little bit out of this plate and then bend this back over and then weld this all back together, throw some paint on it, and that's it. Other side's pretty much mostly welded together, just gotta close it up as well. And then I'll have pin jacks on this car, which will be really nice because even with or without the low side skirts, I can still use these, and they're nice to have because it just makes lifting the car way easier. So let's get this finished up, cleaned up, and then painted. Real quick update because the GoPro's about to die, but there she is. Kind of cleaned it up just a little bit. I honestly don't really care about how this looks because one, I'm probably going to put this guy back. Of course, I'm gonna have to trim around that bar. And two, you're not gonna see it anyway because the door's closed. But you know, I still wanted to clean it up a little bit. And yeah, I think it looks pretty sweet. I had to peel off the PPF here because it was real pain in the ass because it basically melted all in this section. But yeah, it looks good, extremely happy with it. It's gonna be sturdy, it's gonna work well. When I was welding the back side here, I moved this line out of the way and I thought it was the bracket. And I was like, man, that's really easy to bend out of the way for my welder. Yeah, kinked it, but that's okay because this was a temporary hard line that I made because I didn't get the Hell performance line in time, which I have it now, so great excuse for me to just, yeah, oh, yeah, I probably should not have done that. Now it's gonna leak. Oops. But yeah, I'll replace this with the actual line. But yeah, this is all ready to go. Gonna clean it up, gonna clean that side up as well, and then ready for paint. Now I gotta deal with all this brake fluid. Shit. And I'll show you guys how it clears with the door. This side touches a little bit. It touches a little bit. I might try to clearance the door just a hair. Even with it touching, the door still closes. So I'm not too worried about it. It might get scratched up a little bit. But one more, I guess, thing that I'm going to do is I think I am going to use these guys. So it kind of goes like that. So all I really have to do is just trim this plastic just a little bit. And I think it's just gonna look a little bit better. And plus, I don't feel like busting out the paint gun to have a perfect paint match. So what I typically do is I just use like a typical gunmetal, which is close enough to what the car actually is. So I'll just do a quick little paint job with this guy and then trim that plastic, and that'll be this project done. So one more thing I wanted to show you guys is the tool I use to lift the car up, and it is an axle shaft. So I'm not sure what this is from. I think this is an 8th gen. Yeah, I don't know, never used it, so real easy. Insert it. And then jack it up. Actually, hold on. This jack's not tall enough to reach, so there you go, easy as that. Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, just makes the car lifting that much easier. And then when I'm done, put it in the jack. Pretty cool. Finished. Looks pretty good. Listen, if this was a show car, I would have busted out the paint gun. I would have probably bonded all of this, make it nice and smooth, paint it, clear it. Actually, I'd probably start off with epoxy primer, then paint, then clear. But it's not a show car, it's a race car. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, anytime I need to bust out the paint gun, I get severe anxiety because it's just so much more work compared to just grabbing a rattle can that's close enough and just going like that. You know, the paint gun, you gotta clean it, you gotta mix the paint, you gotta spray, then you gotta clean it, do the base, spray it, clean it again to do the clear, then you gotta clean it like a fourth time, and then you gotta work on the pressure, make sure your compressor has no, I hate it. I hate using a paint gun. But both sides look pretty damn good. And like, honestly, it's a pretty good match. Like, you're not gonna be able to tell once this car gets dirty, but yeah, looks good. I'm really happy with the progress. But yeah, all right, that project's basically complete. The next step is temporarily, I already have a hole here when I first built the car on these side skirts, so it's just vinyled over. So I'll cut these little holes out, which means I can use the pin jacks on the OEM EK side skirts. And then I already hit up PCI. I'm gonna get their 4.5-inch vented side skirts. So he's gotta make them, so I'm not exactly sure when they'll be ready. But yeah, stay tuned for that little upgrade. I think the side skirts are gonna look pretty sweet, and I'm super pumped I can now lift the car up with those little pin jacks, which has been the plan since day one of this car, and it's been 3 years. But yeah, it's nice when you don't really have much to do on the car, you can kind of focus on projects that you've been putting off for years. You know, projects that aren't really important to, you know, making it to the next event, but, you know, nice to have kind of mods. And that's kind of what I've been focusing on after Road Atlanta. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next video.